Welcome to the heart of things. So it's 2001, and I'm a relatively new yoga teacher at the Baptiste Power Yoga Institute in Cambridge, Mass. My daughter Molly is about 2 years old. And part of my training to become a teacher involved some workshops with Jon Kabat-Zinn. If you don't know who he is, you want to know who he is. He's a beautiful meditation teacher, and we had the privilege of working with him several times. And as a new teacher in my class, his wife and daughter were often present. So on this particular morning, I am rushed. I'm trying to get Molly to get in the car to go to the babysitter, and we have to stop at CVS before I can teach this yoga class. And I am amped up. She's having none of it. She doesn't want to get dressed. She doesn't want to eat. She doesn't want to get her in her car seat. And my angst is making her even more and more resistant. Keep in mind, this is for me to get to teach a yoga class. So I'm, pushing and pushing, and we get to the parking lot at CVS. I get her out of the car seat, and she climbs out and stops. Right there is a puddle. And you know when there's oil in a puddle and it creates a rainbow? Well, that was it. She was in full enchantment, and I thought I was going to blow a gasket. And then I don't know what happened. It was a completely divine moment. I just stopped, and I softened, and I was really with her. And from that moment, everything changed. We, of course, got to the studio on time, and I walked into the room to teach the class, and there was Mila Kabat-Zinn. Now, she had written a book with John about parenting called Everyday Blessings that I had read, which of course made me feel like I was not doing a great job as a mother. But something happened in that class that instead of zipping up what happened to me, somehow I just felt like I should tell the story. And I did through the arc of the class. Mila came up to me afterwards, gave me a hug, and that storytelling has been happening for 26 years. Recently, I started to think, how can I take these stories? They're all human stories, moments, all kinds of things that we all encounter, and move them out of the yoga room and into a different platform. So here we are. That's what the heart of things is all about. I have plenty of stories to share, but I love the fine art of conversation. I want to bring in all kinds of people to have real, honest conversations. Because I think right now we have way too much division and we need each other. So I really appreciate you tuning in. Until next time, take really good care of yourself. Hi, welcome to the Heart of Things. I'm Alyssa Sullivan, and this episode I'm calling Comfort, Numbing, and Addiction. I know. You probably want to turn to another podcast, like maybe Smartless. Although that's kind of ironic because two of those guys are sober. I think the reason we avoid this topic is because it's hard to go into it without judgment and shame. So let's, right now, clear out judgment and shame and move in curiosity. Right, so we all know what comfort feels like. We all have our individual things that give us comfort when life is challenging or difficult. I remember when I first told a friend of mine that I was getting divorced. She immediately filled her bathtub, lit a bunch of candles, and gave me a glass of red wine. Or, like if you've just finished moving, how about this moving in the rain? Oh my God. And somebody shows up, pizza and cold beer. So what happens if you have like a really bad day at work? You've got conflict. You just feel awful. You want to go for Ben & Jerry's, a pint, not even a bowl, just the spoon, Sex in the City, fabulous. Or say you got the case of the uglies. When you just like look in your closet, nothing fits, you don't like anything on you, and so you go online and you buy yourself something snazzy, a cool shirt, a dress, whatever it is, to help you feel better. Comfort is lovely. My interest is when comfort turns into numbing. So for me, my comfort in my life, one of my comforts, but one of the big ones, has been wine. First of all, let's clarify that wine is not alcohol, right? It's just not. I mean, think of rosé. It's pink. I know that sounds silly, but it's kind of what we've done in our culture about wine. Like if I show up to book club on a Monday night with a bottle of tequila, that's a little suspect. But if I show up with a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc, easy. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. That's a whole other podcast to talk about our culture and how we are with booze. But for me, wine has been a comfort, for sure. And in different chapters of my life, it's moved from just pleasure and comfort into numbing. And I've been in one of those stretches recently. So if I'm going to remove judgment and shame, especially, listen, I'm a yoga teacher. Like, I have no business drinking wine. I'm into consciousness and love. And, well, that is true. Those of you that know me, that's sincere in my heart. But I have found that drinking wine, especially, I mean, I've had other kinds of alcohol, but wine seems to be my go-to. It has been the thing that's given me definite comfort, but also has numbed me. And I feel kind of brave right now because I'm bringing in the curiosity, because I heard recently that what happens with alcohol, like we have that immediate, but then what happens is it keeps fear and trauma to the surface. So I was like, oh, wait a second, because I kind of feel like I'm in a bit of a loop, like I have a pretty decent time. My thing is I'm single, I'm 62, and I've had a lot of resistance about that, which is put up fear, like nobody's coming, I'm going to be alone. And you betcha a big oaky California Chardonnay handles that, man. But then next day I'm like, and here we are, feeling sort of not really jacked about my life and my future. And I want to feel inspired and open and even excited about this new chapter of my life. But I can't seem to access that. So I've decided to remove the numbing. And man, so this is funny because I kind of think I'm a relatively aware person, but as soon as, I remove the wine, I'm thinking maybe a couple of days and I'm going to feel better. I'm going to have some epiphany, some awareness, what I've been numbing. I'm going to heal that and feel great. Well, turns out that's not quite happening. So I'm walking around like I'm in an airport. If you've ever found yourself, you're traveling and of course you lose your flight, they lose your luggage, and you get all bullshit and you're looking to complain. And you're looking for the customer service desk. They don't care. Everybody else is complaining too. But that's what I feel like I'm walking around to the universe, looking for the customer service desk. I want to say, listen, I got rid of wine. I'm like being brave here, getting rid of the numbing. So why do I feel yucky? Well, it turns out that feeling what the numbing was covering is the point. So that, man, is no joke. And what I'm discovering is that riding out the waves when what I've been numbing, which has really been fear. And it is the fear that I'm going to be alone. And then I go into, what does that mean exactly? To feel what that is. And it's so interesting. I've had even resistance to understanding that it's about really giving myself comfort and safety and love and compassion and not reach for something or somebody else. And I understand the wisdom in that, but it's been fascinating to me how much resistance I've had to it. And so I don't have this all figured out, by the way. I'm in this real time. But I wanted to speak to it because let me also say that I have zero expertise on addiction, right? That's a whole other category, and there are plenty of folks who know about it. And if you already know within yourself that whatever it is that you use for comfort that turns into numbing, that definitely, you feel addicted to it, that's a whole other thing. I have a friend of mine who said, whatever it is that you're reaching for, to ask yourself or check in with yourself to see, do you feel free? Right? Like there's nothing wrong with the things that we go to comfort for in and of themselves. But when it's like they have us, like I have to shop, I've got to eat the whole thing of ice cream, I've got to have a whole bottle of wine every night, whatever it is, to really like, wow, okay. So what comfort, what is there to feel? What is there to heal? What is there to know? That's the bravery. And I feel like there's conversations we can have with each other about it, like we kid around about this stuff. But I know a lot of people who are using a lot of different things for comfort. So this is new for me. I'm not even going to count days. Folks who are in AA or in any kind of like a recovery program, identify as an addict. Some people, I've talked to like counting days, and it kind of empowers them like, hey, I haven't had anything for a week or a month or a year or 10 years. But I've also found the other, that people relapse. We're human. Things happen. And what I've heard consistently from folks in these programs is that the day at a time thing is really the way to live it. Like today, I'm not going to choose this thing to numb me out. I'm going to feel whatever is there to feel and learn how to take on life and all the different things that come to me without avoidance, Because I think avoidance ends up biting you in the ass, especially if you kind of feel like you're not shifting. That's what I've been feeling like I keep looping, staying open to all the things in my life. Thankfully, I know how to comfort myself with other things. I buy flowers, I take baths, I go to the water, I dance, I love music, I have great friends, spend time with my daughters. But this particular thing with wine has been very seductive. It's convinced me that it's the only thing that's really going to give me comfort. So as I remove it, and I'm just watching and observing myself, it's again the practice of tenderness and softness and allowing, the days to unfold. It's a walk in faith, honestly. As I'm, sitting here in a recording studio talking about this, close my eyes for a moment, and I have so many different people in my life that I know are struggling with numbing in all the different ways that we do. I just want you to know I gotcha. The whole reason for this podcast for me is taking the personal into the universal, right? To be able to tell stories of my humanity that may speak to you, to anybody, so we find comfort and we can actually help each other. There's too much divisiveness right now and separateness, and so my small contribution is in pulling people in to honest conversations about what we all deal with. So I really appreciate you tuning in. I hope some of what I might have said here has touched you or helped you in some way. And I'll get back to you. I'll check back in. A lot of the themes that I have for this podcast already, the alchemy of acceptance, who do you think you are, love and longing, those are just a couple. And now this one, comfort, numbing, and addiction, they're ongoing themes, My intention is to bring in other people to talk about their relationship with these things and to just keep expanding the conversation. So until next time, take really good care of yourself. Thanks for tuning in.